The following is a special presentation of Tony Kurre Radio. From hot dogs to cool kitties, this is Darkside of the Pooch.
It is time for Darkside of the Pooch. And of course, we got the Pooch eater right there on our left-hand side. He's Dr. Reb, Stewart, Rossbridge Animal Hospital. Does a wonderful job, 208-0301. And of course, he joins us every single week on Darkside of the Pooch. Dr. Reb, how you doing, brother? What's going on?
I got my jacket on. I look like just came out of the movie Dune.
There you go.
Jacket.
Well, it's chilly. I've got, I can't. Well, I guess I could stand up. I'm wearing my long. I'm wearing my long underwear.
On.
I don't have pants on.
Put some pants on.
I walked the dog today. And it said on my thermometer that it was 43, and I got there and I bundled up. I had 4 different things on, and I'm walking. I'm like, man, the air was just. And so my dog actually looked at me and was like, dude, let's go inside. I mean, you could tell he was not having it. You know, most animals, 30, 40 degrees, they'll walk a couple miles, no big deal. But he looked at me a couple times like, I'm done. I was like, okay, that's good with me. So dogs are speaking. So I had my long underwear on. I just took my pants off. Get comfortable. I talk to my good friend. I do most of my shows in my long underwear. Let's start right there. I mean, we've talked about this a million times. It's going to 18 degrees tonight, of course. So we have listeners throughout the entire country. It's much colder in other parts of the country, particularly up north. Wind chills 8, 9, 10 degrees. And all I can pull up when I pulled up some stories today to talk to you about, it was all like how to protect your pet from the cold, how to protect your pet from the cold. And then there was a lot of places it's against the law to leave your animal outside for like more than 10 minutes, or else your neighbors can call the cops on you and you can go to jail for it. How do we know when our pets want to come inside, particularly when it's snowy outside? Because it seems like that stuff gets stuck between your toes, and it makes me cold just thinking about it.
Yeah, tonight, if you live where we are, bring them in. Yeah, hey, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do tonight and tomorrow night. Just bring them in. But I mean, if it's uncomfortable, if it's really uncomfortable for you, then it's uncomfortable for the animal.
Okay.
Short-haired dogs and small breed dogs should not be outside for very long when the temperature is under about 45 degrees.
Okay.
If the sun's out, then if they're getting that radiant heat from the sun, that can be a little different. But if there's cloud coverage and it's a small dog or it's a short-haired dog, large dogs can get away with it. They maintain their body temperature a lot better. And dogs with a lot of hair. So you got a big dog that's a very hairy dog, then they can be better for longer. Yep. But yeah, you don't want your dog to be outside if it's if it's below freezing. You can let it stay outside for as long as it wants to, but it's going to tell you when it wants to come in, and when it wants to come in, it's time to let it in. Yeah,
hypothermia, is that something that happens to animals? And frostbite? I know I'm going to email about that.
It happens. It doesn't really happen here.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it can happen. Hypothermia can happen, and they can get frostbite. It's a lot harder for them to get frostbite.
Okay.
Because they have those pads on the bottom of their feet.
What about our pussycats? I still haven't seen mine. It's been 4 years now, but I've seen a cat in our neighborhood. It looks like my cat, and it's just roaming the neighborhood. And I've called it by name a couple of times. It'll look over at me, and it's not. I put food out for it. It's not coming up to me, so I don't know if it's mine or not. But I mean, there's a lot of people that have outdoor cats, and they feed them at night. They come in. If you have a outdoor cat, a cat that stays outdoors, should you try to catch it and bring it inside, or will it find it?
You should. Okay. Yeah, you should with these. I mean, it's getting, I think, 17 or 18 down here tonight.
Yeah.
Cats are pretty resourceful, and if there is a place that they can find to stay warm, they will. But they're small. They're small. They're not big.
Yeah.
So they're not going to maintain that body temperature as well. Most cats are, especially outdoor cats, are probably in pretty good condition. 10 to 12 pounds, and they get colder a lot faster. You just think about, smaller people, these little old ladies that, weigh 98 pounds. People, like their family members, worry that they're going to freeze to death in their own house.
Oh, I know. It's scary. And I find it's funny because I find that as I've gotten older, so I'm from Cincinnati. So, I'm used to having 10, 15 snow days a year. I used to sled all the time. I had no problem with, I've always said it's easier to get warm than it is to get cold. So I always like the cold weather as opposed to the heat, because when it's hot, sometimes you just can't cool off. But as I've gotten older the last couple of years, I hate it. I mean, if the shower is just a little cold, it's like, I have to towel off before I walk outside because just the air from I'm wearing long underwear, but I'm inside. I mean, what the hell is wrong with me? I'm
the same way.
I'm turning to old man.
I'm 100% the same way. I'm 10, 12 years younger than you.
My thermostat is on 68 right now, and I'm freezing. Yeah. And you know, I got my ex's father, my ex father-in-law, I guess. We used to call him the Lizard Man because it was like 82 degrees every time I go to his house. It didn't matter whether it was wintertime, summertime, whatever. It was like 82 or 83, and I always liked it kind of cold at night in the wintertime and the summertime. But I was always sleeping on top of the sheets, and I'd go up and I'd change the thermostat. And then I had to make sure I got up before he did. He's a 4 a.m.er. I'd have to get up before he did and then set it back because he'd get pissed off at me. But I mean, he would freeze it. He's like, it's freezing in here. And I'm like, Frank, it's 79 degrees, dude. So now maybe I kind of figured that out.
So I'm downstairs. I got mine at 65.
Yeah, it's much cooler down in my basement than it is upstairs.
Upstairs, I got it at 67, but I like a cool house. I cannot stand being hot in my house.
I can't either. It annoys me. It gets on my nerves. Like it makes me cranky. I hear you. It's got to be. And I got a house here with 2 air conditioners, and the one upstairs blows like crazy. The one downstairs, it won't go any colder than 72. So I thought, well, I'll just wait till springtime and call the man out here because there's no reason to run the air conditioner now. But I sent you a video or a picture of Honey, the chinchilla.
Oh, I thought you meant right now. Yes, you did.
No, I sent you a couple of days ago. I'm just letting you know. She is yours if you want her. I'm going to hold on to her. Here's the deal. I like having babies. I've had baby chickens. I've had baby goats. I've had baby roosters. I've had baby dogs. I've had baby kitty cats. I've had baby porcupines. I've had baby hamsters. I've had baby gerbils. I've had baby guinea pigs. And so I just think it's a wonderful thing to see life created in an enclosed environment. So I got this incredible chinchilla, which is really cool. And I was talking to a friend of mine, and it's a male, and she's like, I can get a female for you. And I said, listen, I don't have the money to get a. She goes, I got a female for you. You can just have her. And I said, really? Because chinchillas are like $300-400. And I was like, really? And she's like, yeah, if you come get her, I'll give her to you. So I went down and got her down at Ed's Pet World. And they beat the hell out of each other. For like the first half an hour. It was like watching a married couple get after it. He was in the little house. She was not. And I mean, he was bleeding. I mean, they beat the bejeebers out of each other. And then the next day, man, they're in love. They're kissing each other. He's all over her. She's ready to mate. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It really is. I feel like I'm watching like a Discovery Channel. I almost separated them because I was like, man, what is wrong with this chinchilla? Why is she? And she's much darker than he is. Her ears are almost black and his are kind of pink. And I'm like, what is wrong with her? And I thought, I'll let him work it out. And then like 2 days later, man, they are nuzzling up and he's on top of her. And I mean, they're getting after it.
You know, I bet that is a way the females test the love of the male.
I think you're spot on.
They beat the crap out of him. And she thinks, okay, if you can weather the storm, then we can do the mambo.
Dude, they were boxing. There's got to be, I found a couple of videos. He was putting his paws up and she was putting her paws up and they were jabbing at each other, like hitting each other in the face. It was the most amazing thing I got goosebumps talking about it. I was watching a boxing match. These 2 chinchillas punching each other in the face. It was crazy. And he was bleeding from the nose and she'd go up and then she'd come back down. She'd go up, come back down. Then she must have did that for like an hour and a half. And finally he just like turned around. And then by the end of the night, they were both in the house, cuddled up next to each other. And then 2 days later, he's all over her. So,
I don't know why I'm surprised. I mean, women do that to us. They
no
beat
doubt.
us up.
Oh,
they
yeah.
beat us up emotionally, psychologically, sometimes physically.
Rejection over and over and over again.
And over, just to see if you'll come back. Let's see.
I know.
I don't really care if he comes back or not. But if he comes back this time, I think maybe it'll work out.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It was funny. My daughter was just absolutely flabbergasted and really upset the TikTok thing was going away. She has an account. She's not allowed to post. She can post things on her page, but she's not allowed to follow anybody else or anything else. And so she makes videos. And she was talking about men and women the other day. She's 12. She's going to turn 13 in April. And she was telling me that the biggest thing on TikTok before it went off the air, I guess on yesterday, and then it came back, and Donald Trump's getting credit for that, is that women now are looking for men who aren't perfect. Like they want guys that are kind of messed up, like there's something wrong with them, like they have a scar or a big nose or they'll limp or something like that. Because guys that are perfect are just a pain in the ass. Girls don't want to, and girls don't want a guy that's better looking than they are. So they try to find guys who got issues. And I'm like, well, I should have no problem finding me a date anytime soon. I was thank you, Lila Jane. She's a smart girl, man. She's really good. Anyway, if you're interested in this, if you're into chinchillas, gestation is 111 days. You're more, and it's the best pet outside my dog and my cat that I've ever had. And I've had everything. It's my super easy, clean. It comes up every morning.
They've let everything die. Really? Except for my dog, because I take care of that one. My kids have let everything die.
Really? Yeah. Okay. Well, then just letting you know.
If you need one to cross the bridge, then let us know, because I'll give it to my kids and they'll forget to feed it for 2 weeks.
I don't want that to happen. That's the other thing is I can go like 3 or 4 days because they don't overeat. All they want is their hay, and you just put like a bowl of food in there, and the only thing they care about is their bath. The woman, the woman, Honey, is like, she waits for the bath. Like in the morning when I clean the thing, I always throw the old bath stuff. It's the sand, the real fine sand.
Oh, it's so cool. The dirt bath.
It's the neatest thing you ever see in the world. She'll bathe in it so long, she'll actually almost turn white, or almost the color of the sand. And she'll wait out there for me to bring that fresh sand, but she won't get in it if she's already bathed in it. It's like bathing in dirty bath water, just like us. So I was like, that's pretty cool. All right. Well, just let me know.
Chinchillas doing that. So cool.
I'll let you know. And we will certainly have a show when we have baby chinchillas. And now
I can't wait to see those babies.
Yeah. I mean, because baby chinchillas are just awesome. Their tails are so cool looking. It's really great. This is Darkside the Pooch. He's Dr. Rab Stewart, Rossbridge Animal Hospital. This is where I take all of my pets, all my animals. We do this show every single week. We've been doing it for years. And thanks for all the great emails. info@TonyCurryRadio.net, info@TonyCurryRadio.net. We'll get to a couple of those emails real quick. I want to mention, I saw an interesting story about, and you mentioned your dog's always trying to get away from you. But there's an Omaha group now. I forget what the name of the group is now, that has a fleet of drones, and you can now pay them to find your pet. If your pet runs away, isn't that brilliant? If your pet runs away, I mean, they got those chips and stuff, right? But I mean, those chips are only good that when you take them to a shelter or whatever, they can look at the chip. But you have to catch the pet. It's not like GPS. You know, people think it's a GPS. It's not. There are GPSs for animals, but it's not unless you put like a GoPro on top of their head or something, and so you know exactly where they're going. But they're using like a group of 12 drones, and they say, "Hey, I lost my pet in this area," and for like $50 an hour, they'll actually survey the land and find out where it's at, and they tell you where to go. They stay in contact with you on the phone, and you can drive out and see your animal.
Oh wow! So, yeah, that's cool.
Just something. Something kind of cool.
I hope they find it within a few hours, or that's going to get expensive. But it should. You got to pay for the time.
No doubt. info@TonyCurryRadio.net. info@TonyCurryRadio.net. 208-0301 is your number, and RossBridgeVet.com is the website. Teresa in Hueytown wants to know. We have a lot of Hueytowns, by the way, and we appreciate that. Teresa
Hueytown's right next to us, man.
Hueytown, man. Maybe that's what it is then, because I get a lot of emails from Hueytown. Teresa wants to know, my dog repeatedly keeps licking his paws. I keep looking at his paws. I don't see any yeast infections. I don't think anything, but he just keeps licking his paws to the point where they're just soaking wet. What's going on with my dog?
It could be anxiety. Lots of paw licking. They could be anxious about something, and that's kind of just how they exhibit that. Or they could be allergic to something. Something that they're coming in contact with outside, most likely, or it could be something they're allergic to that they're eating in their dog food. Okay. So those are the two main reasons. They're either allergic to something or they're anxious. But if they do enough licking, they will eventually create an infection with bacteria and yeast. And you may not be able to see it with your eyes, but a lot of times it's microscopic. But the infection is secondary. So first, you got to see if there's an infection. And if there is, you got to treat that. And then you have to decide which way you want to assume. You can either assume they're anxious and you can put them on some medication for that, or you can assume that they have an allergy and then you either put them on medication for that, or you try to do some eliminating of things in their environment or eliminating some things in their diet. So it's a trial and error thing once you figure out if they have a secondary infection or not.
It's not normally something wrong with their nails or they have something stuck in their foot, correct? Because everyone thinks if you're licking your paw, you got something stuck in your foot.
It's very, very uncommon to have something stuck in their paw, although that can happen. And they can break a nail, but you're going to notice that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they have a nail that's broken, that's going to be pretty obvious, but they can lick if they have a broken nail. Sure.
Okay. Another Teresa here in Birmingham wants to know, she said she brought a cat home a couple of weeks ago. Her husband does not like the cat because he's sneezing a lot. He didn't think he was allergic to cats until she brought it home. And now she doesn't know what to do with this cat. She doesn't want to get rid of it. But she had heard on our show, and probably about a year ago, we were talking about cat allergies. And it's not really the cat, it's their saliva, correct?
That's right.
Talk about that again. She said, I heard that. And she goes, so is there any way to remedy that?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Because I was going to bring that up. That's pretty great that she remembered that. Yeah. They're allergic. They're not allergic to the cat itself. They're allergic to the saliva on the cat when a cat grooms itself. So there is a food that's made by Purina, and it's a cat food. And it is supposed to alter the allergen that is produced in their saliva. It's definitely worth a try if she wants to keep the cat. She may have to buy it at a veterinarian's office because it's probably going to be a prescription food, but she may be able to find it outside of a veterinarian's office. Yeah, but it's made by Purina. And it's not a hypoallergenic diet for the pet. It's a hypoallergenic diet for the people.
Yeah. I had to get a prescription dog food once. I did for Frisco. And I needed a prescription for it. You gave me a prescription for it. Didn't even realize it was something. And I went into a PetSmart or Petco or whatever, and they had a whole section of just prescription food. I didn't realize what big business that is and how many different types of prescription dog food there is. There was like 50 different types for hair loss, for skin conditions, is that all like legit? Like is there, because it was amazing. And obviously it's really expensive. It was $40-$50 for a little bag of the stuff, but you got to give them what they get. But it was the first time I felt really special because I was in the prescription area. They got all the big 50-pound bags of dog food and all these little purple ones with a gold, writing on the thing. And I was like, what? And it was like for indigestion problems, you got dogs with gas. It was crazy.
Yeah, they are legit. There are certain conditions and certain stages of organ dysfunction where the food is the number one treatment. So for early kidney disease, for example, there's a diet specifically for early kidney disease. There's a diet specifically for later kidney disease. And then there's one that's just kind of for generic kidney disease. It's like you mentioned, there's food for dogs with allergies, and the protein source in that food is hydrolyzed, which means it's just broken up into small enough molecules where the body doesn't recognize that it's foreign. Mm-hmm. So they shouldn't have a food allergy to it. There's foods to help with diarrhea because the fat content in it is such where it firms up the stool. So there's no shortage. There's food to dissolve bladder stones, they work enough to where I strongly recommend them if the situation is right.
Okay. Final thing here, Darkside of the Pooch. Great show at Dr. Reb Stewart. He's the Rossbridge Animal Hospital. He is the best. I've been taking my animals to him my entire life. He does fantastic work. Check him out, 208-0301, rossbridgevet.com, or just Google it. You'll find it. I was watching this show on the History Channel with Dan, I think it was Dan Aykroyd, called Unbelievable. The whole thing was odd jobs, unbelievable odd jobs. And so I'm watching it the other night, and there was a dude on there that gets paid $15 million a year to smell armpits. Okay.
What?
Yeah.
$15 million?
$15 million. And he's well known. You can Google up famous armpit smeller, and you'll see a picture of the dude. Looks rich. He's like, and he can smell up to like 60 armpits, like an hour or something. He uses like a Dixie cup, cuts out the bottom, and he goes up and he works for all these, Dial, and works for all these deodorant places to find out what the next big thing is and how it smells after these guys. So these guys go work out and stuff like that. Then they put their arms up and he smells them and lets them and marks down on this book. It's crazy. The other thing I saw though, speaking of Purina, and I realize this, Purina, at each factory they work at employs 5 individuals that taste their dog food. They're dog food tasters. It pays $35,000 a year. And they've got 5 people, and the importance is obviously that it's aesthetically pleasing, that it tastes okay, because if it doesn't taste good to us, it more likely doesn't taste good to pets. So, I mentioned my next door neighbor, she used to eat dog food. She used to go out in the garage. She was 12 or 13. She'd go out there and eat dog food. She had really nice teeth. But I was wondering, were you aware of that? They have official dog food tasters. It's a job. They go in for 8 hours a day and they eat dog food 5 days a week.
I was not aware of that. I was absolutely not aware of that. And I guess the good thing is that, if you eat enough dog food, you're not going to have to buy your own food if you're eating dog food for 8 hours a day. So think of the savings.
The wet stuff, though, the wet dog food is nasty. Wet cat food is like, I'm serious. I think I'd die. If I had just cat food to eat in the woods, I think I'd just die. It's just the nastiest stuff I've ever smelled. It's horrible. Dog food's bad enough. I've never been a wet dog guy. I'm like, because it gets caught in their teeth and stuff. And I'm like, crunch it up, bro. It makes their teeth soft. I'm not, but I understand that some people like to, and then this fresh food, this fresh pet stuff. That seems to be the thing now that everyone's getting, it's not dog food, it's food. So I don't know. I
hope I'm never in a position where I have to eat dog food, but if I am, I have plenty here. So I think that I'll be able to live for a while, but I have to, there is a movie that is a recent release, and I've watched the first 10 minutes of it. And it stars Amy Adams, who is a legitimate actress.
Yep.
Amy Adams has been in some big movies. And the name of this movie, I'm not making this up at all.
Yeah.
The name of this movie is Night Bitch.
Really? Okay.
And it's like this horror sci-fi thing where Amy Adams turns into a dog.
Really? Wow.
And she starts to eat dog food.
And what's it called again?
It's called Night Bitch,
Night bitch.
Dog, like a female dog. So, it's released recently. I don't know if it skipped the theaters because it's not doing great. I have no idea. But I need to finish it because I think there's probably
so you have not seen. So you have not.
I got interrupted. I watched maybe the first 10 or 15 minutes because I felt like as a part of my job, I needed to watch this movie.
Yeah. So you got me wanting to watch because I know that I turned you on to Brazil, which you could not finish. And so I saw all of a sudden I'm starting to watch these weird things and I got caught. I don't usually watch network TV. I'm not into the CSI thing and the Chicago fire, the Vegas fire, the LA fire. God bless you LA folks. So we pray for you, but I'm not into all these fire shows. I'm just not, these Law and Order shows. But I was watching this show the other night and I thought of you when I saw it because it was just so bizarre. It was called The Hunting Party.
Oh, I've heard about that. I think it's on. Is it on NBC?
Yes, dude. It came on, and I was like, and it was 6 o'clock, and there's usually nothing good on at 6 o'clock, and I was like, yeah. And dude, look at these goosebumps I got in my arm, dude. It freaked me out, and I was like, man, Dr. Reb would love this show. It is.
I'm going to give it a shot.
I don't like shows where I have to watch every single week to follow up. I'm not a Soprano guy because if I miss 1 week, then I feel like I get behind and I don't like to catch up and I'm not a binge watcher. I don't have time to binge shows. I don't want to watch 3 shows in a row. So each episode is one episode, but it's based off the same thing. But if you get a chance to go watch, and because the new episode, I think the next one's coming up in February, but they had this sneak or whatever it was, dude, it reminded me a lot of the movies you like. It was freaky. It was pretty good.
Well, before I need to I want to mention this. This is like way off topic. Well, not way off topic, but last week, my favorite director, David Lynch, passed away at 78.
Yep.
And he was, Blue Velvet, Mulholland Drive, Elephant Man, Eraserhead, Wild at Heart. Twin Peaks, like anyone out, I have to honor him because he's just an incredible director. So he passed away. I think it was Wednesday of last week. He passed away. So if anyone out there is not familiar with David Lynch's work, do yourself a favor and go watch some of his films and television shows, because they are groundbreaking, and so much of what is made today has the foundation is in David Lynch and what he's done.
A lot of stuff came from Twin Peaks. It kind of ran itself into the ground. But I remember that when that show came out, people were like, dude, there's a show on it. It's really strange. It's really bizarre.
Speaking of network TV.
Yeah. And you could not put it down. And again, I felt myself, and I was like, I'm looking at my because I hate when I'm looking at my phone and I'm looking at 5:45 or 6:45 in this case. I'm thinking, there's no way they're going to wrap this up. And I'm thinking, these son of a guns are going to keep me rolling here. And I don't have to watch this thing next. But it was good enough that I thought, I'm going to watch this every week. And it wrapped up. It's really good. You'll like
the first season of Twin Peaks will be, I mean, it is on the weird side, but the first season of Twin Peaks might be the best single season of television ever
I
made.
Would have to agree with you. All right. Tell people how they can find you, man. You do great work.
You can call us at 208-0301. You can also see our brand new website, and you can request appointments or all kind of stuff through our website. That's rossbridgevet.com, and you can find us on Facebook.
Happy MLK Jr. Day, happy Inauguration Day, and happy National Disc Jockey Day.
Wow. Yeah. Where would we be? We don't call it disc jockey now. It used to be cool to be a disc jockey. Now we're radio talent or radio personalities. Where would we be without Martin Luther King Jr.? Where would we be without our president? And where would we be without Tony Curry?
We may be all a little better off than that last one. All right, my man. I love you. I'll talk to you next week.
All right, buddy.
See you.
This has been a special presentation of Tony Curry Radio.